Monster Month continues, and the creep returns with the final portion of my Creepshow the Series coverage, Part 3. In Part 2, I covered stories 5 through 8, starting with All Hallows Eve, a tale of ghostly trick-or-treaters in search of revenge. The Man in the Suitcase, where a magical monster teaches naughty children a valuable lesson. The Companion, about a killer scarecrow born from the need for companionship. And finally, Lydia Lane's Better Half, where a bad boss pays the ultimate price. Before we get into the final 4 stories of Season 1, I'd like to go ahead and introduce my Patreon page. If you'd like to help support the channel and allow me to continue creating content like this for all time, you could become a patron for as little as $1 a month by clicking on the link in the description or heading over to patreon.com/GamerThumbTV. And for their continued support, I'd also like to thank my current patrons and channel members listed in the description. Let's jump right in. Our first story, Night of the Paw. As usual, with most of these Creepshow stories, there's some kind of lesson involved, or some kind of commentary on the human condition. This one highlights the human need to feel like you're in control of everything you do, and plays with the idea of destiny and fate. Do things happen because they're preordained to happen? And if they are, what happens when we try to interfere? It starts off with what seems to be at first a criminal called Angela. She's on the run, being looked for by the police, and a terrible accident occurs. The car crashes and she's in bad shape. Her hands are all messed up, she's almost impaled, but luckily nearby there happens to be an old man living in a house, and she collapses in the doorway. He lets her in and starts operating on her to save her life. He sews up her wounds, and since 2 of her fingers are messed up, he quickly chops them off with scissors. This old man is called Whitey Whitlock, and he saved her life. But Angela has no idea who he is, and she freaks out, threatening him with a gun. But this is exactly what he wants.
Do you want to die, old man?
Yes, absolutely.
He's quite literally asking to die, and this obviously confuses her, so they sit down and begin having a conversation. She reveals that she's an angry young woman, her spouse is dead, so she's disillusioned with everything, and Mr. Whitlock reveals that he fully expected her to arrive that night.
What would you do if I told you that your visit was not by choice, but rather a grand design perpetrated by me?
Say you've been hitting too much of the good stuff.
Mr. Whitlock's actions all revolve around the use of a monkey paw. Many years ago, he smuggled it from Mumbai, supposedly a magical item imbued with the power to grant 3 wishes. A spell was cast on it to prove that fate ruled people's lives. If you interfere with fate to make changes of your own, do so at your own peril. And when the monkey's paw is clenched into a fist, that means all 3 wishes had been fulfilled. Of course, he believed much of the myth was nonsense, and it was a simple trinket to him. But his wife Marjorie believed strongly in the power of the paw, and used it to make wishes of her own, all coming true. But the 3rd and final wish convinced him that it could be real. At one point in their lives, his funeral business was going horribly, and they were on the verge of losing everything. Marjorie took the monkey paw and wished they could come into a large amount of money. And the wish came true.
Marjorie! The paw took hold of our fate and squeezed until fate gave her what she bargained for.
Marjorie was dead, but Mr. Whitlock did come into a large amount of money when Marjorie's life insurance check came in. Exactly what was wished, at a cost. His business was saved, but he had lost his wife, and he spent day after day in anguish, counting the minutes as they went by. At first he thought it could be coincidence, but as he prayed to God, he came to the realization that he could bring her back from the dead if he wished for it. But nothing happened. His wife didn't come back. He laid everything out for her, preparing for her return, and he began seeing her in flashes. And then it hit him. The new caskets he designed, the Everrest, was designed to keep bodies locked in. If his wife was alive, she would still be trapped inside of it. He rushed to the cemetery to find her, and of course, everything goes horribly wrong.
It's me, my love. Come and save me.
That is horrifying. He finally saw the power of the paw himself and wished for his wife to return to how she was.
As you were, my love. As you were.
Ever since then, he'd been suffering from nightmares, and Angela thinks that he's completely full of crap. In the morning, she prepared to leave, and he reveals what his final wish was. He had wished for the paw to send a killer to end his life. He wouldn't kill himself, but if perhaps he wished for it, somebody else would do him in. And Angela was indeed a killer of sorts. Her husband was sick and dying in a hospital, and was begging her to do it.
I love you.
So technically she was a killer, and she pushes back on the thought that she might not be in full control of her decisions, angrily throwing the monkey paw into the fire, and thereby creating the exact situation that Mr. Whitlock wished for.
Shoot me! Shoot me! Angela! Thank you.
And with that wish fulfilled, the monkey paw is restocked with 3 more wishes waiting for the next person. Angela takes it and tries to leave with Mr. Whitlock's car, but it won't start without the keys. With the monkey paw in range, she unintentionally wishes she could find the keys, and then wishes for the car to start. Uh-oh, the monkey paw registered 2 wishes. You know, that's really unfair. She didn't technically say the wish out loud. The paw didn't really need to waste a wish by simply flipping the visor down. But that's how the monkey paw operates. By the end, she's seen enough proof that the monkey paw works, and uses it in a way similar to Mr. Whitlock. She wishes to resurrect her loved one, the man she killed. And, you know, I wonder how she got into the hospital morgue. You'd think the staff would be on patrol, and notice someone going into there where they weren't supposed to be. And her final wish does come true. But her husband comes back along with the rest of the bodies in the morgue, and they kill her. I think this is actually one of my least favorite episodes. I didn't really find the story that engaging, and it was all fairly predictable if you've seen the countless stories about wishes going bad where a character wishes for something, and it gets completely misinterpreted. And I also didn't think that Angela's character deserved what happened to her, since she wasn't really a cold-blooded killer. She did it because her husband was in pain and begging her to do it. But the next story, Times is Tough in Muskie Holler, is quite the opposite, and it is awesome. This one is a straight-up post-apocalyptic zombie story about civilization adjusting to a new society after the outbreak. After all, you can't have Halloween without zombies in some way, shape, or form. This one includes the lesson of you reap what you sow. No negative actions go unpunished, especially when you govern, and the people you rule over fight back in greater numbers. It opens up with a bunch of people locked away, and the mayor of the town, Lester Barclay, is screaming to be let out. He is an obnoxious, loud man that nobody really likes.
You got us into this. I did everything you said.
And I'm gonna get us out of it too, so you just shut the hell up.
And if you look carefully, you'll notice all the people in the jail cell around him are all dressed as what can be described as prominent community members. There's a pastor of some sort, police officers, including David Arquette, who I remember most fondly playing Police Officer Dewey in the Scream movies. And the group of people that are holding them imprisoned each have a personal history with them.
You ain't the mayor of this town anymore, you piece of shit. Pastor Mitchell Ryan, his wife Susan, and son Jimmy, who encouraged Lester Barkley's reign of terror by claiming it was God's will. News director Don Palmade, who willingly spread his lies with the devil's tongue. Sheriff Deke and his men, who savagely enforced his wicked laws, raping and murdering countless numbers of our fellow citizens. Leslie Ann Dowd, who spread the vicious gossip that resulted in the loss of so many innocent lives.
No. You're kidding, right? Oh, you're kidding.
Does it look like we're kidding, you fucking traitor?
All the ones locked away are widely hated. They're horrible people, and enforce their iron will on the people of the town. The police officer was a rapist. He even killed one of the survivors' fathers. He beat him down, but apparently his father is waiting for the killer somehow.
My daddy's still the real sheriff of this town. And he's up there waiting for you. You already know that, don't you?
You're a pussy! Just shoot me! No. Preacher man, now would be a good time for a prayer.
But how did the zombie apocalypse even happen? Nobody knows. Everyone had their theories, but the dead were rising in such large numbers that it didn't matter. Soon enough, the entire world was covered with the undead, and the town of Muskie Holler was trying to figure out how it would survive the onslaught. And Mayor Lester M. Barclay rolled into town to save the day. He took advantage of the populace, locked up his political enemies, anyone that would speak out against him, and he surrounded himself with yes-men loyal to him. He convinced many in town that they only survived due to his actions. He started contests in arenas, forcing enemies to fight for survival. He fed people to zombies. He's a horrible man that believed himself to be king. All these awful people are chained up and are being lifted into the air. You know they deserve what's about to happen to them, but you don't quite know exactly yet what that punishment's gonna look like. And it's something that you would see right out of a Walking Dead episode.
Contestants in the final round. Tonight the contest will finally end, bringing a close to this most tragic chapter of our history. When the change came, we were all terrified, and terrified people can make shameful decisions. Your evil ways punished the innocent and plunged this community back into the dark ages. We're here to take it back, in the name of Muskie Holler, and in the name of the people you murdered.
And this man, when faced with his misdeeds, instead of apologizing or begging for forgiveness, he doubles down on his actions.
Y'all picked me to protect you in our darkest hour, and I did. Y'all know I did. And now you're gonna make me the bad guy? Oh. Without me, you ain't nothing but a bunch of stupid animals. Ham Lester, Ham Barkley. I am the fucking goddamn king.
But even kings fall, and it's gruesome to watch. They all have their heads sticking out of holes like the whack-a-mole game, and all the people they wronged in their lives come back to devour them, and have vengeance. This story felt really short. It felt like it just blew by in a second, and it's really a simple tale. Preaches the idea of there's more of us than there are of you, a lesson you've seen play out throughout human history with people in power, abusing populations until something explodes and they pay the price. Not with zombies, of course, but that added a nice sprinkle of some Halloween terror.
He is about to take a bite out of crime. There he goes.
You can be mayor. You can be mayor, Harold.
Slowly making his way up.
No, you can't do that.
And we've got pie.
Now the next one, Skin Crawlers. This one is very much a commentary on instant gratification, and how as modern day society, sometimes we value that a little too much. We want everything immediately. We don't have the patience to wait for it. We don't want to work too hard for it. In this story, it focuses more on the idea of things like fad diets, BS quick easy fixes instead of exercising and making lifestyle changes to improve your own body image and health, of course with the craziness of Creepshow mixed in. Dr. Sloan has developed a new miraculous treatment called Skin Deep that gives you instant results. You don't need to exercise ever, it just works. Right along the lines of late night infomercials that you might see on TV. The main character of Skin Crawlers is Henry, a man hopeful to lose weight and highly interested in the new treatment. And we also get glimpses of news stories of an upcoming eclipse, something that does come into play later in the story. And another hopeful patient, Kelly, looks hilarious. She's clearly a thin person wearing a fat suit. It looks horrible. But to be fair, and give the show some credit, it looks as good as any fat suit can look. Fat suits never look like a genuinely overweight person. It just looks like someone packed with tons of makeup or just wearing a suit. It's all very obvious. To celebrate the treatment, Dr. Sloan offers the group donuts, since they can eat whatever they want, whenever the hell they want, and not gain a pound.
Ah, donuts, anyone?
I thought this was about losing weight, not gaining it.
It is. But after signing with me, you'll never have to diet again.
We'll see.
Maybe just one. One.
He's confident about his abilities. He's got a 100% success rate, and it has nothing to do with hard work. It has everything to do with monster leeches.
What is that?
Perfect little monsters. You see, Dr. Sloan was once overweight too, and was searching South America for special fat-melting berries. Instead, he discovered 10 specimens of these leeches that feed on fat. They attach to you, and instead of draining your blood, they secrete a fluid that numbs you, and they melt the fat inside and drink it like Kool-Aid, leaving a thin, attractive Herculean shape behind.
Take my money.
Follow me, please.
The group is immediately excited, but Henry has his reservations. He's a bit freaked out about having a monster attached to his body, eating fat from his insides. He takes his donut and he gets the hell out of there. There is no convincing him that this is a good idea.
I'm sorry. It's too freaky for me. I really can't do this. But, good luck.
But while shoving more fatty foods and soda down his gullet, Kelly pops up now, completely thin and looking wonderful. The treatment actually is miraculous. It was quick, easy, and painless. She's also going to be on a Good Morning America type of show and invites him to be on it as a volunteer. And seeing that the leeches actually worked, he reluctantly agrees to go on. A bunch of people on set have already gone through the treatment. Dr. Sloan's promoting the hell out of his magic fat-sucking leeches. It all seems to be going very well.
There's my soon-to-be body beautiful.
Dr. Sloan, I never should have doubted you.
Water under the bridge, my friend.
All right, everyone. We're going live in 3.
Once again, they bring up the solar eclipse, and as the eclipse gets closer to happening, some strange events are afoot. And it's kind of funny because they make it seem like the reporter is about to get a case of the shits.
Jim?
You okay, Jim? Buddy? Guess my own belly doesn't know what time it is. Still fighting off last night's lasagna.
Well, keep us updated.
But the eclipse is causing something so much worse, and it is absolutely disgusting. I love it.
Is there something in my eye?
The eclipse seems to have reached its zenith. We're about at totality.
Yeah, it's extremely violent and gruesome, but it's so over the top and ridiculous that it is comical. Horror movie cheese at its finest, and the practical effects are wonderful. Even the cameraman of the show nopes the hell out. It's complete chaos on set. People are exploding from the inside, blood is gushing everywhere, baby leeches coming out, and Henry goes after Sloan, accusing him of knowing what was going to happen. But in fact, he had no idea that the leeches were leaving something behind. When they feed, they implant their host in a reproductive process of sorts, which results in them being born under the influence of an eclipse. Completely absurd, but it results in some awesome Resident Evil monster moments. Sloan explodes, and a monster is born from within him, a super leech, with teeth that wants to gobble up Henry. The final boss, if you will. Let's call it G-Birkin. And Henry has to defeat it so he can escape with his life and live another day. Luckily, Henry never began the treatment, so he's completely unaffected and he escapes. But before he does, he makes sure to grab a sugary treat and takes pleasure biting into it. This is another one of those episodes that I would put on the top of my favorites, just like the genie one. It's entertaining, exaggerated, just like Creepshow demands, but at the same time it's got a deeper message behind that can apply to many things in life, not just weight loss. As a content creator myself, I appreciate the message about the quick and easy way usually not leading to a great result. The slow grind is the way to go, so if you ever want to lose weight or even accomplish any personal goal you might have, don't rush it. Enjoy the journey and work your ass off, or you might explode. The final story in Season 1, By the Silver Water of Lake Champlain. This is the cryptozoology story. We haven't had one like this just yet. For those that don't know what cryptozoology is, it's basically the study of creatures that may or may not exist. Bigfoot, chupacabra type stuff. This one deals with the legend of Nessie, Loch Ness Monster style stories. More specifically, Champ that lives in Lake Champlain. It stars young Rose and her little brother Joseph. And it's kind of a sad story. Rose is obsessed with the tales of Champ in the nearby lake. In 1977, there were 6 sightings of the beast, and water temperature was the same as it was on that specific day, but her mom wants to hear none of it.
I thought we had an understanding. We agreed never to bring this up again. Champy doesn't exist. It's not real.
The story of Champ is a sore subject in the family because her father spent all his time and money looking for it. He literally died for it, coming back injured and saying he saw the creature, and later going after it again until his life was lost. Everyone in town thought he was crazy, nobody believed him. And Rose also has a love interest, a kid called Thomas that thinks he's Rambo apparently. Thomas carries a knife around and he's got a headband, but he's actually a really nice kid. Now Chet, on the other hand, is a total dick.
Well. Something I can help you with, stud?
No, I was just seeing if Rose was...
That's a nice knife. That Rambo? You know, it's one thing to have a knife, but it's a whole nother thing to know how to use it. Yeah, I learned this in Nam. Kill.
Chet plays the role of the evil stepfather, the typical abusive step-parent that swoops into the picture after the original parent passes away. He is a psychopath, and even his new adopted family can't stand him. Rose begs her mom to drop Chet because all he does is put the family down and abuse them emotionally, something all too common in difficult situations like this that real-life families actually do deal with. Rose, angry at her mom, runs away into the woods near the lake. Thomas and Joseph go after her, and boom, she runs into something mysterious.
Where the hell did that come from?
Whoa, that's weird. I don't know.
Looks like her father was right after all. There was a creature in the lake and it washed up on the shore. According to her dad's notes, Champ does seem a bit smaller than what her dad believed it was, and she thinks it could be some kind of dinosaur species that survived all this time. Whatever killed it must have been big, since it has huge scratch marks. Now this young girl is going to be famous. She discovered the famed lake monster and told her brother to go find their mom. These kids are just amazed by the discovery. They're taking photos to make sure they have proof, and Joseph goes to tell mom. And Thomas uses his intense Rambo cutting skills to perform deep cuts into the creature, to honor Rose's dad and make sure that he gets the credit he deserves.
It's great.
Take a picture. We'll get your dad's name in a National Geographic or something. Say cheese, champ.
But asshole Chet will have none of this nonsense. You see, Chet is the typical, extremely selfish character that wants to take credit for someone else's hard work. The kind of person that rides on someone's coattails and at the right time says, hey, that was me that did it. What a dick.
All those years, all that money spent, looking for this disgusting thing. It's too bad he didn't pack a snorkel. As far as I'm concerned, this is my ticket. I've put up with enough shit from your dumbass mom and you idiot kids. This thing is gonna make me rich.
They did do a great job making his character as unlikable as possible. He doesn't care who he hurts as long as he can make a profit off of it, even going as far as taking Thomas's knife and challenging him to a fight. There is no reason for this, but Chet needs to prove he's superior. These characters always have that small PP energy and usually get what they deserve.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna carve you up so small, fish are gonna have a feast.
Her dad was right again. Champ was a much larger creature. The dead one is just a smaller sized one, perhaps a mate or child, and it drags the corpse away. And they could have easily just done all this as CG now, so I highly appreciate that they took the time to create some sort of animatronic monster instead. It looks awesome. And you know what? This entire situation was actually very convenient for the whole family. The mom doesn't have to go through trying to get this horrible man out of her house and her family's life, risking a madman putting them all in danger before he goes. Now they don't have to worry about him anymore. He became a quick meal, and Rose's dad was proven right, which is good enough for the family. All very convenient.
We saw her. Dad was right.
Miss Phillips, she was here.
Where'd Champ go, Rose? Don't you believe us?
Mom?
Maybe your dad wasn't as crazy as everyone thought he was, huh?
And with that, Creepshow Season 1 is concluded. Unfortunately, a Season 2 was delayed due to the COVID pandemic, but the good news is that it's still coming sometime in 2021, and I will absolutely cover it when it does. For now, let me know in the comments what your favorite story in this video was and why. I'll catch you guys later. Since you made it to the end of this video, I assume you enjoyed it, so why don't you go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any new content. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, links in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can join my Patreon or become a channel member. This is Fabian, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.